Welcome to this video on Deep Dive into DPDP Act 2023. In this seventh part, we will explore the significant data fiduciary obligations under the Act. Significant data fiduciaries, or SDFs, face enhanced responsibilities to ensure higher data protection standards. This includes additional duties under Section 10, requirements under Rule 13, and higher standards of governance and assurance. A significant data fiduciary is a data fiduciary that has been notified by the central government for enhanced oversight under the DPDP framework. SDF status adds obligations on top of ordinary data fiduciary duties. It does not replace the baseline compliance framework. This module will focus on 5 major areas: formal DPO accountability, independent audit, DPIAs, algorithmic due diligence, and restrictions or controls relating to certain data transfers. The theme is heightened accountability for higher risk processing. In this video, we outline a practical 5-step approach: defining SDF status, identifying enhanced obligations, explaining the roles of the data protection officer and auditor, applying impact assessments, and mapping duties to governance. You should be able to translate legal requirements into a practical governance structure. The goal is not to memorize section numbers, but to understand what must exist inside an organization once SDF obligations apply. You should be able to distinguish between policy compliance and operational assurance. An SDF must be able to demonstrate that its privacy controls are implemented, reviewed, tested, and improved. SDF status is a distinct higher risk category. These entities are designated by the central government based on factors like data volume and sensitivity, requiring them to uphold stronger safeguards to protect individuals. SDF status is a regulatory designation, not simply a label an organization chooses for itself. The Act allows the central government to notify a data fiduciary or class of data fiduciaries as significant based on factors connected with the volume and sensitivity of personal data, risk to data principles, sovereignty, integrity, and security-related concerns. A fintech, social platform, health platform, or large digital service may face heightened risk, but the legal question is whether the organization has been notified or falls within a notified class. Designation as an SDF brings mandatory changes, including the requirement for an India-based data protection officer, mandatory independent audits, and stricter compliance for data transfers and breach notifications. This slide explains the principle of layered compliance. SDF status does not mean that the organization can ignore ordinary obligations. Rather, it creates additional oversight because the consequences of failure may be greater. Governance maturity should be proportionate to risk. An SDF must have stronger evidence, more formal reporting, and greater independence in assurance activities than an organization with only baseline obligations. SDF compliance rests on 5 pillars: an India-based data protection officer, independent data auditors, annual impact assessments and audits, algorithmic risk due diligence, and strict controls on data traffic. We use these 5 pillars as the structure for the rest of the video. Each pillar addresses a different risk: accountability, independent assurance, processing risk, technology risk, and cross-border data risk. These pillars must connect with the broader privacy program. For example, a DPIA should not sit separately from data mapping, consent, security, rights handling, vendor management, and retention processes. The data protection officer is central to accountability. They must be based in India, act on behalf of the SDF, report directly to the governing body, and serve as the point of contact for grievance redressal. The DPO is a governance and accountability role, not merely a person who maintains privacy documents. The role needs access to relevant information, the ability to challenge risky processing, and a clear route to escalate concerns to the board or equivalent body. Ask yourself practical questions, such as, does the DPO have access to product plans? Can the DPO require a DPIA before launch? Can the DPO escalate unresolved security or rights handling failures? These questions help you understand whether the role is substantive or merely nominal. For a DPO to be effective, they require a clear mandate, unrestricted access to processing information, involvement in high-risk projects, and the authority to escalate concerns directly to the board. A DPO cannot operate effectively if the role is isolated from product, technology, security, legal, and operations teams. The DPO should be involved early in high-risk processing decisions, rather than being consulted only after a product or system has already launched. Independence does not mean working alone. It means being able to provide objective advice and escalate concerns without inappropriate interference. Operational teams remain responsible for implementing controls, while the DPO provides governance, challenge, coordination, and reporting. Independent assurance is required via a qualified data auditor. They must assess compliance with the Act, examine technical and policy controls, and report significant findings to the board to build trust. You need to understand the difference between an internal compliance review and an independent audit. An internal team may help prepare the organization, but the independent auditor must provide objective assurance about whether controls are actually operating. An audit should not be limited to reviewing policies. It should examine evidence, such as consent records, rights request logs, grievance handling, breach response, processor controls, access reviews, deletion records, training evidence, and DPIA implementation. Credibility in audits is maintained through auditor independence, a scope that covers all applicable provisions, evidence-based findings, and a verified process for tracking and closing remediation actions. A credible audit should test whether controls operate in practice, not whether policies merely exist. For example, the auditor should test whether deletion requests are completed across relevant systems, whether vendor obligations are monitored, and whether breach playbooks have been exercised. Independence is valuable because it introduces challenge. If the audit function only confirms management's assumptions, it cannot provide reliable assurance to the board or regulator. A structured data protection impact assessment, or DPIA, helps identify and mitigate risks. This involves describing processing activities, identifying affected principals, assessing rights risks, and evaluating safeguards. A data protection impact assessment is a structured risk assessment process for personal data processing. It should help the organization identify potential harms to data principals before a high-risk activity is launched or materially changed. A DPIA should ask questions such as, what data is being used? For what purpose? Who may be affected? What could go wrong? Could the processing lead to discrimination, exclusion, surveillance, loss of control, or unauthorized disclosure? What safeguards reduce the risk? The DPIA is a continuous lifecycle activity. It must be conducted before high-risk processing or system changes, before deploying new algorithmic tools, periodically for SDFs, and whenever material risk changes. Under Rule 13, an SDF must undertake a DPIA and audit once every 12 months from the date it is notified as an SDF or included in a notified class. This creates a minimum periodic cadence, but organizations should not wait for the annual cycle when a major new risk appears. Examples are launching a facial recognition feature, introducing automated credit scoring, combining datasets for profiling, expanding into a new user group, or transferring processing to a new overseas provider. A comprehensive DPIA must examine the legal basis for processing, map data flows, identify potential harms to data principals, evaluate vendors and algorithms, and define retention and mitigation measures. A DPIA should connect legal, operational, technical, and ethical questions. It should identify not only what the organization intends to do, but also how the processing could affect individuals, and whether the proposed safeguards are sufficient. You should treat DPIAs as decision documents. A useful DPIA should lead to a decision. Proceed with conditions, redesign the processing, limit the data, add safeguards, or do not proceed. To test compliance in practice, perform annual audits that evaluate control effectiveness, identify gaps, submit formal reports to the board, and vigilantly track the completion of all remediation actions. The audit is different from the DPIA, although the two should inform each other. A DPIA looks primarily at risks associated with processing, while an audit examines whether the organization is effectively observing the Act and rules in practice. Audit results should not be filed away. Findings should have owners, deadlines, risk ratings, and follow-up testing. The board or equivalent governing body should be able to see which issues are open and whether management has addressed them. Finally, assess algorithmic risks by reviewing software, testing for bias or unfair outcomes, maintaining audit trails for mitigation, and continuously monitoring performance after deployment to ensure fairness and protect rights. Rule 13 requires an SDF to exercise due diligence to verify that technical measures, including algorithmic software, are not likely to pose a risk to the rights of data principals. The obligation is broader than cybersecurity. It includes the effect of systems on people. Some examples are automated eligibility decisions, fraud scoring, personalized pricing, recommendation systems, identity verification, content ranking, and employee monitoring. You should ask whether the system produces unfair outcomes, relies on excessive data, creates opaque decisions, or makes it difficult for individuals to exercise their rights. Knowing where regulated data moves is essential. You must ensure that personal and traffic data transferred outside India aligns strictly with the Act and established rules. The rules provide for restrictions on transferring specified categories of personal data and related traffic data outside India, based on categories identified by the central government. The exact operational impact depends on the applicable notification and category. Organizations should therefore know where data is stored, where support teams access it, where backups are maintained, and which vendors process it. Data transfer compliance is impossible without an accurate data inventory and vendor map. Effective governance requires visible reporting. This ensures accountability, supports informed decision-making, and builds necessary confidence with regulators. This provides the connection between SDF compliance to leadership accountability. The board should not receive only a general statement that privacy compliance is on track. It should receive meaningful information about significant risks, audit findings, unresolved issues, incidents, rights requests, and remediation status. Reporting is not the same as transferring operational responsibility to the board. Management and process owners still implement controls, while the board or governing body provides oversight, challenge, and accountability. These obligations fit together in a continuous cycle of oversight, control, and improvement, involving board leadership, dedicated officers, audits, and remediation steps. SDF compliance is a cycle, not a checklist. The board provides oversight, the DPO coordinates and challenges, DPIAs identify risks, operational teams implement controls, auditors test effectiveness, and remediation feeds into the next review cycle. This model also shows why no single department can own all SDF compliance. Privacy, security, product, legal, procurement, engineering, operations, and leadership must work together. Consider an automated risk scoring platform. Assessing algorithmic decisions requires testing for bias, transparency, and accountability to ensure fair outcomes for all data principals. This scenario combines several SDF obligations: DPIA, algorithmic due diligence, rights protection, governance oversight, and audit readiness. You can pause the video here and work on this scenario for hands-on experience. You should identify potential risks such as inaccurate data, discriminatory outcomes, lack of explainability, excessive data collection, and difficulty correcting records. Response would include a documented DPIA, algorithmic testing, data quality review, human escalation or review where appropriate, DPO involvement, and independent audit evidence. The organization should also be able to show what safeguards were considered before deployment. Building an assurance map is a practical roadmap. It helps organizations identify high-risk processing, define reporting lines, conduct impact assessments, and create remediation cycles. In this activity, you can take up a hypothetical organization, such as a large digital platform, fintech service, health technology company, or online marketplace. You should create an SDF assurance map showing governance owners, high-risk processing, DPIA triggers, audit scope, algorithmic review, transfer controls, and board reporting. Identify at least 3 pieces of evidence for each obligation. For example, evidence for DPO accountability may include a role charter, board reporting calendar, and grievance escalation record. Evidence for algorithmic due diligence may include testing results, model risk review, and mitigation decisions. Identifying where SDF compliance breaks down is crucial. Proactive monitoring helps bridge gaps before they become regulatory or operational issues. These failures show the difference between formal compliance and effective compliance. An organization may technically appoint a DPO or commission an audit, but still fail if the role lacks access, the audit lacks independence, or findings do not lead to corrective action. SDF maturity is demonstrated through decisions and evidence. The organization should be able to show how risks were identified, how controls were selected, who approved residual risks, and whether improvements were implemented. For further learning, a detailed guide with practical examples is available on the DPDPA Mentor website. This resource helps teams in building an SDF assurance map under the DPDP Act. This guide is based on the steps provided in the previous slide, and various examples are provided for better understanding and practical usage. Always remember that compliance is an ongoing process. Maintain clear records, stay updated on regulatory changes, and foster a culture of privacy across your organization. The central message is that SDF obligations are designed to create stronger accountability for higher-risk data processing. A compliant SDF needs formal governance, independent assurance, risk-based assessment, technology oversight, transfer visibility, and leadership involvement. An SDF program should be treated as a continuous assurance cycle. The organization should not wait for a breach, complaint, or audit failure to discover that its governance model is incomplete. If you are interested in trying out the DPDP Act provisions, you can use the Consent Manager simulation portal at myconsentmanager.co.in to test your integrations as a data fiduciary or data principal. We recommend the CalPI Quiz app, available on the Google Play Store, to test your knowledge of cybersecurity, the DPDP Act, and other important topics. The app offers various levels of difficulty and interactive assessments to improve your awareness. Thank you for watching this video relating to Deep Dive into DPDP Act 2023. Hope you now know more about SDF obligations under the Act. This was the 45th video in this series released by DPDPA Please visit our YouTube channel, DPDPA Mentor, as well as our website, dpdpamentor.in, regularly to check out other informative resources. Wishing you a successful DPDP Act implementation.